Introducing
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the RAF Stormshadows channel. Now, it was a dramatic night yesterday as the RAF Shadows took third position, beating and besting the RAF Coracans pretty comfortably in the end with a 4-0 sweep. But tonight is a different kind of game. It's a different kind of show match. One where reputations can be built. One where momentum can swing in a team's favour just like that. And in the context of Germany, this is a big night ahead. Joining me for tonight's action between the RAF Stormshadows and the British Army trio of Gids, Wormsley and Rush is none other than a very special guest of the RAF community. He's been around for a long time here. We all love him. It's Danny Boy. Welcome to the stream, bro. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Well, thank you very much, Still, for the kind introduction. I'm doing a bit warmly, being introduced in such a manner as well, but I think at this point I'm almost like the furniture here. What an introduction as well, too, in terms of what the Shadows did produce here, but unfortunately you're going to have to put a prefix in front of it in terms of the storm that is coming here as the main team looking to go on Germany, as you did point out, 2/3 of this particular lineup here that the British Army's putting forth. You know, it could be an interesting day, but they will have their particular turn. But how about yourself, Still? How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I mean, it's been a long week for me personally in work. So it's not actually, for everyone watching in the chat, by the way, it's because I'm doing it out loud on like I've got a speaker out loud that's playing audio and my mic is catching it, so that's actually my bad. But I'll see if I can fix that for you ad hoc. But yeah, I can't lie, it's been an interesting week for me. Bit of a long one in work, just passed an exam today, so I'm feeling good. I'm a bit hungry as well, so after the stream I shall be definitely getting some food to eat. But in terms of the game tonight, like I said, it's the Stormshadows looking ahead to Germany now, the AFEI. They're up against 2 players from the Army first team and of course 1 from the second team. On paper, Danny, should be a Stormshadows win going off the last inter-service result. Are we going to expect to see anything other than that?
I love how you ask sort of difficult questions. I would be polite to say the last team that the British Army was on an RAF stream. Will have 2 sides, formidable in both kind, but will the form in the leader in the form of Cedric decide to take it within 4?
Here we go then. It is Envy, Cedric and P. We are underway. And a bit of a double commit there early on as Rush looks to build some kind of army pressure. Gids keeps it alive. P now squared up at the near post. Envy doing well. Not good enough though. Gids with a chance. Tries to force it in at the near post. But wasn't quite quick enough there to nick it past P. And Wormsley and Gids are doing well to keep up the pressure. Rush drops it down. Dangerous here. Wormsley flies in. And it's just wide of the mark.
There's Wormsley with a particular touch here. And Envy, who is playing around with the letters, so is trying to be a bit quick-witted with a chemical formula with those two. But unfortunately, they've ruined it with the lettering here. But see, it's necessarily sending that ball on target here. Well, nice were the last few matches that we saw on the stream. Yesterday as well, 2 Shadows went into 2 commanding game leads, and then, shall we say, petered a little bit more closely here, but the main team of the RAF's got to be careful, this could be potent.
Danny, I'm going to ask you to please take over the cast for the next 30 seconds whilst I just troubleshoot some issues, please.
Welcome to the RAF stream. We were talking about, you know, her broadcast and how long it's been. And according to a few of you at home, that this may be in the stadium, potentially. You could be talking in Germany as well too, but a lineup still yet to be announced here. Cedric, 1 touch, 2 touches there, tantalizing the lips there, and unfortunately the Gids there, and you know what, reminds me to a player to some extent in the form of Gibbs, the North American old stable, but meant to be much better. So far, proven that one, moved to the halfway line more than Gibbs ever done in his professional career, but we're talking, nearly a decade ago with that stat.
And we are back, and hopefully now everything should be coming through okay, including the game sound, including no more double Danny. I certainly hope there's no double Stel.
Who had a problem with that?
Well, nobody really. I mean, I certainly didn't have a problem with it, but as you can see, the Army have taken a nice early lead here, and to be fair, they're playing well. They're playing well. I like what I see from this Army side, and it's weird not being able to call them by a team name, i.e. the Falcons or the Sparrows or the Merlins, but there goes P. Will he put it home into the empty net? He does! And as you can see on the left-hand side of your screens there, a focused trio of Stormshadows players equalize nicely.
Certainly, so you can see the reactions on the cam, and being the very few casters on any of the British sort of Air Force, military, or even the Navy broadcasts, I will sit there and say this, while it's biased or not, one of the, if not the best broadcast productions of the three main branches here. But NV trying to not only be the branch, the straight root of the tree there, but the backbone needs a bit more than that.
Cedric. Off left-hand side ball, up he goes, gets one flip, dangerous here, gives with limited boost, off the post, Envy's there, puts it home, 2-1 to the Stormshadows, and dare I say normal service resumed? I'm not sure, because the Army have been dangerous, but certainly if it continues this way, momentum may well and truly swing.
There will be a sweet little cheeky grin on 4 RAF men right now, if of course that was to perceive and to pursue. And there is P himself here, the old legacy player himself at that point. That's not what the B stands for, and Perverious at that too. It will be Giz who got that one away and chasing it down in the Falcons decal, but unfortunately we'll need a few Aishes and members, and Envy with a hot one sent it away.
Cedric beats one, looks for the flip reset, didn't quite land that time, but a good centre, finds Envy, and Wormsley covering beautifully, but Cedric keeps the pressure alive. It's off the crossbar, down, Rush with the save, Wormsley with the clear, and the Army living very, very dangerously here, but they do manage to come away with the ball. Now, Rush scampering down the right-hand side, Cedric has to come across. Nice defensive play now, looks for Envy, nice and calm under pressure from the Stormshadows. It's good, but Gids, lovely demo. Wormsley looks inside, Envy with the clear, and the Stormshadows temporarily riding the waves that the Army are putting onto them. And Roman, to answer your question as well, it's a mix of Army players tonight. We have 2 Falcons players and 1 Merlins player, which is why I'm not using any Falcons or Merlins like that, because it wouldn't be fair to. It's a mix of players tonight from the Army, and you can see wherever they are, whoever they're teaming with, they seem to gel well because they're looking very, very dangerous. Cash, how are you, brother? Nice to see you here in the chat. And as we encroach into the last minute of play here in game number 1, certainly seems, Danny, that it's going to go the way of the Stormshadows unless there is one almighty sting in the tail from the Army.
We'll find out shortly of that. Of course, the RAF Stormshadows stream here, who saw the likes of Clash, Pluvo and many others top in top 16. And speaking of blue tag players himself there, something very peculiar in an Englishman in form of that, but who wants to talk about an Englishman when you can talk about Greece of 04 in the Euros, where Stelios himself has hoisted something that many who seeks but unfortunately cannot hold. But again, we might be heading into the Lord of the Trilogy on that one.
Yeah, I don't quite know how I managed it. In fact, I'm not going to claim any credit for it. It's the absolute amazing play of Pluvo, Cash and Grammar that's allowed me to have a blue tag. They'll say I've earned it. You know, I was just in the right place at the right time doing my job, but hey-ho, we got it anyway. But the Stormshadows also have game number 1 in the bag. And would you say, Danny, that it's fair to say it was fairly calm that time round for the Stormshadows?
I wouldn't call it calm as the overall picture. I think in the second half, yes, that would be a fair assessment of it. What is, however, a tad bit worrying, and has been somewhat irregular, at least in terms of the games I have seen over the time. The Stormshadows take about sort of half a game to get themselves ready. That's not unusual. Compose wouldn't be the word I would just use just yet.
You can see they're all looking nice and composed in their respective boxes on your left-hand side of your screens now. Also love that decal, by the way, the Unreal Engine 4 render of that Stormshadows decal in white. Absolutely superb. One of my favourite things about our community is our decals. Again, all custom made, courtesy of Cedric, the man that is my co-IC for RAF Rocket League and has been now for a couple of years, and also the rock, the centre point of this extremely talented Royal Air Force Stormshadow side is P with a delightful save early on. I think I might just keep the cams there, Daniel. What do you think? I might just keep the cams there, you know, for a long period of time. I quite like that. We can see the players and their reactions as Gids looks to give the army an early advantage here. Not that time as P flicks forward to Envy with a nice cut. P looks to starve them of boost, but it's a nice pass from Wolsey back into Gids, but a good save by Cedric as he peels away for boost.
And that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
So funny. P is going to be absolutely devastated with that one. But once again, the army find themselves 1 goal to the good. Well, they started like this the last time. Can they maintain it now? If they can defend this lead for a couple of minutes, it may cause some anxiety, some level of panic in the Stormshadows ranks, but they're immediately searching for one back. P with a wonderful touch. I thought he got the reset. Didn't quite work out in the end. And Rush pressures Envy into a rushed clearance, and Wormsley comes up the pitch now. Limited boost, so P will chase. P with a good first touch. Fakes it down towards Envy. Envy with a shot and a good save by Gids.
Gids has learned from the previous goal that he conceded in game 1. Pushed to give himself a bit more of an angle to get the clearance as well. But there he is, and that's been blocked as well too. Stormshadow's got to be careful here. The British Army has found pockets of space to find this one, and that's goal number 2. How about defending from attacking?
Fair play to these army players. That is a wonderful pass by Rush. Limited boost knew that. Trusted where his teammate would be in the centre. And Gids does not miss from there. That is excellent play from these army players. 2-0 to the good now. And they're looking the ones in complete control of the series at the moment.
Well, you might need a mental coach here stepping in. It's a shame I don't know one offhand here. Perhaps this one would be requiring, if that one went on to everything, let's be fair here, stemmed from the fact of the P own goal. Force, mind you, and yet you said about that composure. That word being key here. Well, still, where is it?
It's going to be somewhere. They've got to find it, because this is the type of opposition that they'll be playing in Germany, and actually of higher level as well, with that US Air Force team that went 32-0 last time out. And 2024 Allied Forces Esports Invitational. That's going to be some team to beat. And this is a start, because there will be similar skilled players as these army players there in July. We've got to make sure we can get past the challenge. And at the moment, it's the army that are playing really effective Rocket League, and Cedric with a whiff. Wormsley with a good bump. Squares up Envy and Cedric. And it finds its way into the back of the net. And it's 3-0. The lead tripled from the army. And they've stayed patient, they stayed calm, and they've got their reward.
This is perhaps the start of the series itself. But mind you, as an individual game goes, you'll be going, okay, what have you got? What are you able to show here after the first one? Talk about leads being dictated in terms of tempo. They've led twice. This is the first time they've really capitalised. What will be interesting within about a minute ago, do they decide to turn it up completely?
We shall see as Envy goes up, beats 2 players there. Nice quick aerial. Rush with a bit of work to do. Does it really composed as well, by the way. That was an excellent glimpse, and a nice follow-up demo. I believe it was on the car of Cedric. Envy with a shot towards the near post. Claims the rebound, and it does find its way into the back of the net. It is 3-1. And a glimmer of hope here in game number 2 for the RAF Stormshadows. Good work by Envy. Squares it towards Cedric, and he's there to sneak in front of Wormsley and Rush. And we have a route back in.
I do love how there is the polar opposites of the cuddly and soft Stelios and the Viper that is myself here. That was shocking defending by Rush. I'm sorry, I'll have to point that out. What world do you think that's appropriate to push the ball away? Yes, you have natural reflexes, but you should never be sending that ball centre back into 2 onslaughts of blue people waiting to slot that one home here. They've got the 2-goal sort of buffer here. It really should be send one ball, send one man, and have 2 men back here. And they haven't done that, as you can see. Goal number 2.
Excellent play by Envy, who recently reached SSL in 2s, by the way. I want to mention that as well. That's absolutely super for me. I think he's clocked over 1,000 games this season. He really is playing out of his mind, and his commitment to improve and the way he studies the game is something to be admired, really. Does it so often and plays so much, and he's getting the fruits of his labour now, managing to solo queue to SSL and indeed GC3 in 3s as well. So a proper all-round player. He's really developing his game. and flanked by the experience of Pierce and Cedric. You can see why the Stormshadows team are the current inter-service reigning champions, and indeed are the top seeds as well from the last inter-service spring qualifier. But at the moment, they are being held to a 3-2 potential defeat here by this resolute Army side. There goes Envy. P cutting. Cedric's there at the near post. Puts it home for 3-3. Comeback almost complete.
Just when you thought maybe this game was dead and buried, there is always that slimmer of hope when you sort of chisel away. And if you go from 0-3 down to 3-3, anything feels possible here. And a kickoff, if it went into their favour, would be ideal. But Rush to delay what could be the unthinkable.
Come on, the lads, the cry from Cash in the crowd. Oh, it's a nice shot, but Envy was there. Look how quick he got up to that one. But he will give Rush a shooting opportunity. Envy's with a really good save. Rush looking to square it to Wormsley. In the end, he does very well to recover that hospital pass. Saves the day. P with a fake. Delays two Army defenders. Envy centers. Cedric's there. Can he put it away? It's a good save again at the near post. It was Gids that time. And the Army come away with the ball.
Really hard headed into that season from Chicken Run. Panic.
Superb stuff from Wormsley. Look at that shot off the right hand side. So much power. And Cedric caught slightly off guard there. I wonder if he expected a touch from the other player on the wall. I think it was Rush. Either way, the shot was excellent. And it found its way into that bottom corner. And again, the Army with the advantage. Again, the Army with the lead. Can they defend it? Pete goes high. Drops it down. Nobody there to collect the ball. And the Army gets game 2. And just like that, we have a series, ladies and gentlemen. A much improved performance there from the Army. And I think that game, they got what they deserved.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one. I don't want to sound negative in this comment, and it's not in any way as an insult, and it will sound like one, unfortunately. But when you just concede and you have that kickoff moving into it, probably Pierce is the last person you want on that ball. You would ideally want Envy to be that sort of set-up, double touch the man in form, essentially, to kind of sneak 4-4 from it. You would want Pierce to be that sort of backline defender. He was close, don't get me wrong, from getting that in. But that's what they may be somewhat dwelling on, the fact they had that opportunity instead of maybe the other way around, that the likes of P, the likes of Envy got that one back into a 3-3 game in the first place here. That's the element they should be focusing on. So game 3 has got a little bit more of the mental twist that we've got to look out for, never mind the physicality of the game itself.
Oh, he was looking at making a point there, P. I think that was an excellent electric play to start off game number 2. As Cedric rises high, doesn't quite get there. Envy now up first. This is dangerous. This is where you don't want to be giving him time. They tried a combination play. It didn't quite pan out as they wanted. Limited boost on both the cars of Envy and Cedric there, but P almost dropping onto the ball. This is a bit better. They started the game on the front foot this time. Envy goes high, beats one player, and it will fall to Cedric, and he does find the net, doesn't miss those. And the Stormshadows have come out looking relatively ruthless at the start of game 3.
Relatively ruthless, that's a new one.
I think so anyway. I think it's the perfect in-between of actually ruthless and somewhat tentative. I can't really describe what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean.
No, I enjoyed it that much here. It just got me by surprise. Relatively ruthless, as that one unfortunately was mildly pandered to the crossword. Unfortunately not being knocked in here, but scrabbling across and down here, but they haven't worked out which one here. But you have to say, the goal itself, it's ideal, but the defence wasn't there at all here, and the Army themselves has been allowed to be outplayed. They haven't been, shaping themselves up to the point here where they can cover each other's mistakes as well as they were earlier in the game. That's the disappointing element there.
It's not. I wouldn't call it Peacelander. It's just it was just an individual moment. That was all. Kitch, thank you so much for the follow. That brings us to 390 followers. What an incredible number of people that follow this channel, by the way. Grateful to each and every single one of you who tune in regularly to support the Army, Navy, or the Royal Air Force teams, or indeed DNG, Dangerous Esports Club, Catch, Primo, and Grammar. We appreciate every single one of you, and we are very grateful for your viewership and support does not go unnoticed. But what does go unnoticed right now is the pressure that this army side are putting on the Stormshadows net. Stormshadows at the moment are able to survive the limited boost all round and then be providing that composed bit of play just when they needed them. And now the counter-attack, bang, bang, will it end in a goal? Not that time, it was just wide of the mark.
Unfortunately, not a fan of Jesse J. Unfortunately, if you were a follower just signed recently from the land of Netherlands, who've been coached maybe for 12 weeks, and not to spoil it too much here, but shall we say that particular 2010s pop song was being sung in the coaching sessions. Unfortunately, no tune by the British Army other than maybe scramble that one away as best as they can here. I don't want to be negative, which is hilarious because that's mostly my commentary. But what is going on here still? The ball has shifted left to right, left to right, left to right every time by the Army. Do they realise they can go forward?
Well, I'm certainly not going to be complaining. This is a wonderful combination play between P and Envy. P manages to recenter. Cedric climbs high, finds the near post. 2-0. Like I say, Danny, I certainly won't be complaining at the scoreline. And indeed the performance level of the Stormshadows right now, because we seem to have gathered our control back after last game.
Yeah, much needed. It must be strange listening into a non-biased caster for the RAF stream. We start going, you know, when are you going forward? That must be the most insulting thing I've said in a long time, as that's goal number 3 here. And do you know what? The main team, they're taking turns, which is what you want to see, especially when you're going to Germany as well. And
sorry, did you see?
What you say with that? Yeah.
That was crazy. I didn't even notice in live play that Cedric actually got the bump there. That was pretty nuts. Sorry to interrupt you, Danny.
No, it was one of those moments where it deserves the audible ooh, the ah, and everything else. You just, if you were the defender here, let's just say other words may have been used in that moment in time other than the non-broadcast ones. But let's look at the positives. Up 3-0 after a shaky performance, got the goals back into the second game to bring this in terms of performance-wise. If you take it in 10 minutes worth of gameplay, it's essentially 6-1 in aggregate.
Can they build on that aggregate score? Time will tell. There is still 1 minute to play, and there is still a very dangerous opponent in these Army trio of players. Of course, 2 from the Army first team, the Falcons, and 1 from the Merlins. Rush is that player. He scampering across the right-hand side. Cedric will cut rotation here. He was well communicated. You can clearly see that. As Rush looks centre, he with a very difficult ball to deal with. Stays on the backboard. It's very awkward, but he does manage to come down on top of it. And it was good adjustment from P to get that one away and to maintain this 3-goal lead. And it will be dangerous again. Envy's going to come across. Looks for a wonderful fake touch there. Cedric cuts across. Can P finish off the backboard? And just couldn't get above the ball as required, but a creative attempt at goal there from the Stormshadows, not rewarded, and Rush able to clear.
Any chance you have a ref whistle on hand?
I don't think I would need one right now, surely. Unless there's been any fouls or red cards I don't know about. Oh! No. Maybe I do.
I was just somewhat hoping here that the whistle was going to blow to stop the British Army's embarrassment there.
Oh,
sorry, just...
It was a good composed bit of attacking play, to be fair. That's all that was from Cedric. And if you look at it from the POV of Rush, he had to go at the ball. He had to throw himself at it. There was no other play for him, really. He had to go for it, you know. If he wasn't going for it, Cedric's putting it in. If he does go for it, he is susceptible to a fake, and it's just one of those where, you know, you have to go for it, really. Unlucky on him to be faked, but it is what it is. 2-1 to the Stormshadows, and like we said earlier on in the commentary, in the play-by-play, we are looking at a lot more dominance. But the Army's still showing patches where they can be very, very dangerous and lethal.
I don't want to put the Scud on it here, but if the Army doesn't score in this game, I would say that's the series done here still.
It's a tough one to come back from if you're 3-1 down and facing 3 match points in the best 7. I mean, ask the likes of Cash and Pluvo, they're going to tell you the same thing. It's a bit of a mental mountain to have to overcome. And if you can't if you don't have it in you to take it game by game, goal by goal, you are going to struggle a lot. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you. If the Army are bested in this particular game coming up, there's a chance that they'll fall pretty hard. But, I mean, they're good players. All three of these guys have quality in them. They are quality players, and they've showed it in the recent inter-services and in the winter qualifier, in the inter-service landing in Sunderland last year, and indeed in the inter-service spring qualifier. So they won't be swayed too much, I don't think, by what's going on at the moment. And they will fancy that they can get back into this game. And that's exactly what they're going to try and do. And they started on the front foot already. That's Bormsley with nice play. That's good, aggressive, bumping play by Gids. And Cedric were able to bring the ball away for the RAF Stormshadows. 50 as well. That's a nice shot from Gids. Will it find its way in? P comes across and denies a goal.
The fact that the Army is naturally taking it slower, that had to go. That had to be buried to not only make a statement, but to get yourself back into the series outright here. But as Rush here moves down here, it's double commit essentially, and Cedric himself has the awkward one going for a bump again here. And as much as you can criticise here the Army themselves and what they've been doing, yes, it's a mix of the roster here. The one thing that I would love to see the Stormshadows not do is to have that second ball spilled to the position where they're not able to follow up on. If they can get that sorted, we could be talking a lot more in terms of score lines here.
Indeed, as P going for an outrageous flick, and I've seen him do it. And be looking towards that right-hand side now. Will get the boost. P rises high, plays it central towards Cedric. Looking for an aerial bump as well on the way out. That was good play by P. Solid attacking rotation there. And a nice soft touch. Ooh, maybe a little bit heavier than anticipated. Cedric cuts across the rotation. They're very nicely comped. P goes up. Can he get there before Rush? No, he doesn't, but does get the bump. Envy. Good first touch. Doesn't quite get the reset, but his challenge goes as far as P. Flicks it central. P again inside. Down towards Gids. Cedric will be on the backboard, waiting. Composed play from the Stormshadows captain. Chucks, good evening to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. P GOAT. Yes, indeed. P is absolutely the GOAT, for sure. Absolutely love P. Got so much time for the guy. Excellent player, and he's an even better guy, but that will be dangerous. The Army will have an opening. And just like that, Danny, just like that, 1-0 to the Army, and they're looking dangerous again.
Just as unfortunately Chat and Sale was getting there. Songs ready to serenade the man that has been almost chiseled into the rock formation itself here in the RAF history. They've conceded and they are doing their utmost best here to get that ball away here, but Envy from the ceiling will be looking for it, and Cedric takes over again. The shot goes wide again, and these sort of nice little niggling sort of testers at best here, but they've got to put the point here where the forces a keeper to the play, not necessarily directly towards the wall. If not, the pressure's gone.
Oh, that's beautiful play between Envy and P there. Absolutely superb. Envy composed enough, aware enough of his teammates' surroundings. Plays it infield to P, who pretty much, the second that ball was off the nose of Envy's car, P was already in the air. Showed enough awareness of where the goalkeeper was to put it into that near post. Great finish by P. And the Stormshadows once again on level term as P leaves it. Cedric with a demo. Envy gets the flip reset. Goes for a fake, clever play that gets equal to it. It's good defending by the Army. P with limited boost now. Just does enough to be annoying and let Cedric be on the ball. That's a dangerous place for Cedric to have the ball. That's a nice shot though from Gids, and it's a great goal. 2-1, and the Army restore their lead. And it just goes to show you how clinical this Army side can be.
That is one of the passes that you sort of teach at fundamental levels. And even though yourself still working with top-end players, that type of pass in that position is nearly virtually unstoppable if you get the placement and power right. Every element was so there. They've got the 2-1 lead. They have yet to show fight and grit into the series. They've done it twice now. Now can they go for 3 here? And unfortunately for them, Mr. Stoneface has decided to block that one once again.
Envy in his defensive third. Nice flick towards Cedric. Cedric plays onto the backboard. Can he be there for the redirect off the backboard? No, not that time. P drops it down. It's very, very awkward here for the Army. P gets a bump and demo as well. believe it was Wormsley that took one for the team there. Rush though with a nice quick aerial play. P rises high. Wormsley beats him to it. Good play by the Army here. Really, really stubborn. Really almost clinical in their approach. But there goes Envy, linking up with Cedric again. And it wasn't to be that time. It's P with a good first touch. Sets himself high. Can he beat Gids? Gids rising equal to it. It's good play by the Army, who again, now within a minute of equaling the series at 2-2. And it would be a nice setup for game number 5 if that is indeed to happen. 49 seconds to play, Danny, and it's anybody's game, but the Army with a slender, narrow, but crucial lead.
I was wondering when Cedric and Envy was going to be sort of nourishing their sort of hunger at the moment here. You can just see them chomping at the pieces there. They get towards the ball, gets the Winsley. One touch here, forces a save, and there he is. P, soft touch, moves into it, and don't want to say a lack of decision, ran out of space in terms of the pitch here to make that play. So, as you rightly said that word, clinical. That's the element of the game that they're trying to find here. He's up, and unfortunately with no bar here, this one should be game set and done here. But we've said that before, and unfortunately, we've been wrong on separate occasions.
2-1 on the clock. P keeps it alive. Rush will surely drop this. Chooses to clear in field. It will be Gids to put the ball down. And the Army level up here. 2-2 in the series. And this one is only just heating up, Danny. And with, 2 games apiece and a relatively even game that time around with the Army, again, I do feel deserved that game. It really puts the series into perspective. Ebbs and flows. Stormshadows domination. British Army resilience. And finding ways to be very clinical as well. Really begs the question. Where's this one going to go, Danny?
That's a good question, and as I said, if they didn't score, they would be looking at basically being 4-1, and that's the show match done. So the fact that you use that word of resilience, it's an element of, what you're able to produce here. If we can see that resilience holds for at least one more game, we'll probably see this one be a nail-biter. If not, I think the likes of P would be enjoying, shall we say, making the opposition squirm under the pressure of what Cedric and Envy's able to produce.
And there he goes, off that right-hand side wall. Wasn't to be that time. Envy. Nice loop high into the Army defence. Gids dealt with it well. P with an instant challenge on the Clara Wormsley, whose 50 is a good one as far as the Army are concerned. Can he do it again with Envy? He does. Strong play by Wormsley. Nice redirect. It's in at the far post. It's Gids. It's another Army lead. And they've gone from looking completely out of it to now leading in the series officially. And it's a great pass by Rush at that near post. Gids steaming in. 1-0 to the Army.
How often do you sort of have the sense corner ticking quickly? Well, if you were a Liverpool supporter, those words would be ringing so true. And Cedric will be there to save that one. If this goes 2-0, it'd be reminiscent of a game 1 and 2 type of level performance here. And this one wouldn't be as easy to predict here. That one's in front of the box as well. Nobody necessarily wanting to chance their arm onto it as that one punted down over to P. And he's taking his sort of sweet time towards that one, and a few misses here and there and delays that one. I'm sorry to be a little bit, after such a good set of gameplay. Why are you waiting? Knock it long.
Brute 1 football, the cry from Danny. P with a clearance to the right shoulder. Cedric looking for P again. Can he get there? No, he can't. It's good defending by Rush. This will free up Gids for an attack to put pressure on. Cedric does. Forces a shot. Envy forced into a really, really good save. More pressure by the Army. It's hanging awkwardly in front of the Stormshadows net. Migra in the chat. Good evening to you. Cedric with a clear. P rises high, puts their way to the right, and temporary respite for the RAF Stormshadows now, as Gids keeps that pressure alive for the Army. Nice redirect by Wormsley. Looking to go above Gids towards the touch of P, but Rush with a nice first touch, an awkward second touch, and Cedric, look how awkward they've been put. It's a nice shot as well. Rush there to tap home into the empty net, and the Army with another deserved lead, and it doubles this time around.
That earlier word composure falling short there with that touch. Not much you can do when you're awkward, and you've just mentioned a name. I'm somewhat chuckling away to myself here. It must be, 2, maybe possibly 3 years at this point now, where the RAF white team, as it was known there, when you had the likes of Cedric, Hopper and Migra sort of fronting the top there, and I wouldn't say teams were unbeatable for that roster against other teams, but they weren't as good here. This is one of the few teams you look at the British Army and actually setting a roster that's good enough to compete here. And Cedric, the last one of the old, so with P2, he's been fluttering around and about here, but not often known as the main man himself, normally takes the back seat. Well, he has been playing a good performance here, but unfortunately for them, the British Army's met P blocked again for 2-0 to hold, with half the game still to go.
I don't disagree with you there, Margaret, to be honest. I do not disagree with your observation of P as rush goes high, and as you say, Danny, more Army domination here. They've got the 2 goals that matter, and the RAF must come back quickly, if at all, for this game, or face 2 match points of their own. And Simon said you have to give them credit because they did look down. Now, I don't think I'll be biased to say that, but one thing I'm certainly not being biased about is the fact that they had come back hard. They stayed resilient, they stayed composed, and they've remained almost 100% clinical in front of goal, and they have earned the right to be in front here. And they're 1 minute away now from 2 match points. Will it be a 3rd goal to make all but sure here? And the RAF Stormshadows resisting that time round. Envy. Awkward touch. And Rush has a bit of work to do here. Missed that time. But he maintains his composure. Cedric in the air looking for Envy. Also, good pass. Gids gets there and he will put it home into the empty net. It is going to be 3 goals to the good now for the Army. And it will be, I think now, 2 match points for them to work with.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. The qualifier that has recently passed, the British Army won that one. Was there a show match before that where they beat the Stormshadows, or was that the first ever win?
So what you're referring to there is the winter qualifier back in January.
Yes.
That was the first time an RAF team, or the Stormshadows, had been beaten in like 2 or 3 years, and that was Onza, Wormsley and Gids that did that. They played so well in that winter qualifier. It was absolutely insane. Since then, in any show match that they played, the Army first team remained unbeaten against the RAF Stormshadows until the spring qualifier, where this same team, MVP and Cedric, picked up essentially where they left off from Sunderland back in December, and once again became top seeds, winning the inter-service spring qualifier. So that's where we are currently at. And this is obviously just a nice show match, non-competitive.
Oh, I was waiting for that line to be stuck in somewhere. So in any competition, they've only lost once so far.
Essentially, well, no, twice, because in that
Twice.
winter qualifier, the Army beat the Stormshadow side twice. In the double elim early on, and then in the grand final as well.
Right. I thought I may be misremembering something else here, but no, history is correct here. And while that goal did slip on there, as we heard the famous words that said, it's only a friendly. There's no such thing in any sport. There's friendly, there is pride, there is the wanting, the desire to win here. There is a potential maybe goal to be creaked on back here. But as you said, Stale, 2 match points to hand essentially the 3rd ever loss to the Stormshadows, the top side here, and we're talking essentially within a 5-month span. At one point within 3 years, that was unheard of. Now it's becoming a regular feat.
And it's a testament to the quality that the Army possess. And remember, this isn't even their strongest side either. Like, Onza is, one of the better players, and if not one of the best players in the whole UK Armed Forces at the moment. He's not even playing tonight, and the Army are currently, well, working with 2 match points. And it's, again, full credit to them and the team that they've built, courtesy of Fezzi. So, again, credit to him as well. They've done such a good job with developing their game. And I've always said it as well, them becoming good, the Army becoming good, in turn makes the Armed Forces Rocket League scene stronger, because it makes us want to grind, it makes them want to grind to retain that status. And indeed, makes the Navy want to get better as well. So ultimately, we all win, the better all of our teams are. And that's certainly happened here with the Army, because they are playing some really, really good Rocket League. And now it's over to them for 2 match points, and Wormsley goes up, tries to get the better of Cedric. Cedric with composed defending. Envy's there with a really nice, crucial, squishy save that was destined for the roof of the net. But a nice Good save by Envy, but at least for the moment, spares the Stormshadows net from conceding.
Once again, I'm just scoffing, unfortunately, and that's unfortunately to what Stale said there, the squishy save. Oh, I despise that man for knocking Flipside back out on a World Championship stage many moons ago. But unfortunately, we might be scoffing at the fact that the army is doing what is essentially, as I said, was unthinkable, now becoming unbearable. That one is what now Stormshadows, and look at the way they're positioning themselves now. All three dropping back, not one man sitting upfield for the quick cherry pick for the allottisms, but that one not slotted in either here. 90 seconds gone, and similar like the last couple of games, goalless, but I don't want to be a party pooper itself, shall we say. But every time, shall we say, it's gone this long here, it has favoured the British Army.
Yeah, because they defend well, they're resilient, they're composed, and they find ways to get the ball into the back of the net, and that's the most important stat in Rocket League. That one will fall to P. Nice first touch. Gids with an incredibly clever attempt at bumping P there, but Wormsley able to clear. Now Envy with some defensive work to do. 2 versus 1. Nice shot! Nice goal by Gids! And now they're only 3 minutes away from a wonderful series win for them, and the Stormshadows have it all to do.
And that one will just potentially remove the emotion and potentially joy that the Stormshadows perhaps was building up, but they will need to essentially hit turbo onto this one, and they want things going here. Rush for the double, fakes it low there. There was a, shall we say, a frowny emoji earlier, by unfortunately due to Cedric's faking the broken ankles. P able to get up and block here, sent away.
Cedric looks in field. It's a nice double touch to beat Wormsley, but Rush was covering. Really good defensive play again by the army. Stormshadows looking a little bit awkward here. A little bit under pressure. It's a nice touch from Cedric. Can he adjust in time? No, he can't. Envy takes it away to the right-hand side. Gids, limited boost, but will try to be annoying here. P targeted for a demo. Wasn't to be, as he plays a nice pass out to Envy. Envy beats one. Squares up Rush. Nice bumps by Envy. This will free up the car of P. Good shot on goal. It will cause some issues. Again, more composed defending by the army. They're playing so well here. Really have improved since games 1 and 2. Full credit to them. Wormsley predicts the shot. Cedric comes in. And a nice save by Wormsley again. And now Rush with a fake on P. 1-on-1 versus Envy. Can he find the back of the net? He finds the top right corner. And the lead doubled again. And surely the army have it in the back here. Excellent defending. Excellent attacking play from the army as well. And it's 2-0 just like that.
Rush unfortunately made Envy look like a teenager running through the household. Mess everywhere, and unfortunately somebody needs to get the Hoover, because that one was a complete and utter nightmare to deal with. There potentially could be a scud on this one here if Envy can get that one away here. No stain either being put onto this one. Yeah, certainly dropping back as well. I was criticising them earlier for not defending. That's a wide open net there. Envy has got back in time.
Suddenly, its momentum's completely switched. The army inside, camped inside the Royal Air Force half, looking for a third now. They're pushing on. They're really trying to put this one to bed, and there will be an opportunity here. Envy, but for Envy's car, still a chance here for the RAF to make a comeback. That's a nice flip, that's a nice bump by Cedric onto the car of Gids. Actually, they took each other out there. And you can see, look how awkward we look. Awkward play all round here from the Stormshadows. Penned inside our own half. It's more good play by Rush. The minute point has been reached. It's got to be now or never territory for the Royal Air Force Stormshadows. P drops it down. Envy meets it. No, it's a whiff from Envy. Rush scampers down the left. Squares up Cedric for a shot. Cedric beaten to it by Wormsley. P away. 40 seconds to play now, Danny boy. And I think if not for a miracle, it's got to be the Army series.
You would be absolutely dreading those thoughts. I did say earlier that the last time I was on this broadcast, the Stormshadows did lose. Unfortunately, seemed to be a bad luck charm here. P getting the vital block in, being 1-2, but it's away. And a demo opens up the door. 20 odd seconds. And unfortunately, P
E and C is all the letters in the alphabet, but unfortunately not in the right order. Neither of the three onto the pitch here. They are looking absolutely discombobulated at best there, and it's being pounded in pressure. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give Stale the misery. It is, however, a 2-4 thumping at the end of the business end of the series. The British Army has made it once again the title headline, Unbearable Storm to the RAF.
They've done very, very well, I must say. They looked honestly unstoppable towards the end. After a rough start, I must say. And they got what I think they're full value for, which is a well-deserved win. And credit to this Army side. And bear in mind, it's not even the team that's actually together. It's two of their first team players and one of their second team players. And they were just the better team on the night. Credit to all them, as always. Credit to what Fezzi is building over there at the Army Rocket League teams as well. Really good display from them. And I cannot wait for the inter-service summer qualifier. TBC dates, by the way, for that one. We'll see if we can get you on the cast, Danny Boy, as well. But, I mean, with the Army looking this good, and with the first team of the Stormshadows, with the RAF first team and the Army first team currently tied for points at the top of the inter-service league table going into the summer qualifier ahead of the end of year LAN, it really is anybody's top seeding place to take. So, you know, I'm so excited to see how it ends up panning out. But either way, Danny, they played very well tonight, and you can only think that they'll take a lot of confidence from what's happened here tonight.
Well, you have to. You just sit there and just enjoy those sort of type of games when you are essentially playing with a sub and you're sort of going, well, we can do this, what can we do? That is essentially what you'd be looking at, sort of chuckling away at that. But, you know, you're talking about, you know, the next qualifiers, the next sort of potential movements as well. Don't forget as well, too, and I know you're already on the ball on this one. I mean, the Shadows, the third sort of best team in the RAF, potentially making battle in Headsway. The Tempest as well, back with a full Samus as well, too. So the RAF seems to be getting themselves in the right positions. But the key thing is, as Cedric knows himself, champions are decided in key moments. They done it last time around. Can they do it this time around when it really does matter?
And on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid you farewell. It's been myself, Stelios. It's been Danny Boy back in the booth on the RAF channel. Great to have you back as well, Danny. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, as always. Thank you to the players for their time. Thank you for the follows and the subs. We'll see you next time, probably next week for another show match. And, of course, potentially for a BFBS Pro League qualifier stream. Time will tell. But for now, have a good evening. Have a good weekend ahead. And we'll see you on the other side.